Lasagna, one of those dishes I don't think anyone can dislike. On the one hand, it's so simple to make, but on the other hand, it has all these little tricks that can make it so much better and unforgettable. So how did I crack the perfect lasagna for me and maybe for you too? I use dry soy granules, TVP. They're so easy to use because the granules are so tiny and don't even need to soak them. I also use zucchini and fresh herbs. Different herbs give it depth. Some from my garden, some store-bought, and I love mixing them together. I also add spinach, which brings in extra protein, satiety, and a good balance with the herbs while adding that lovely green element. The bechamel sauce is super simple. I make it from cashews. A cashew sauce, creamy, tangy, salty, cheesy, and perfect for baking. For flavoring, I use nutritional yeast, smooth Dijon mustard, and salt. For a long time, I've been trying to create a lasagna that was a meaty sauce, something ground-like, plus some vegetables, plus a cheesy element, and all with the ingredients that are relatively unprocessed. For the zucchini, I like to cut it into small to medium cubes and I leave the skin on. It gives extra flavor, a nice look, and it softens beautifully while cooking. You can also use eggplant instead or skip it or use mushrooms or tomatoes. Every substitution will change the texture, so play around and see what you like. I saute the zucchini on medium heat until it softens and gets a bit of a roasted color. Then I add the soy granules, the TVP, toast them a little with the seasoning. The seasoning is pretty simple, it's just salt, nutritional yeast, and paprika. I add 4 cups of tomato sauce. I use the plain unsalted kind, passata, because I like to season it myself. Then I add 2 cups of boiling water plus tomato paste for an extra punch of tomato flavor. I don't usually add fresh tomatoes, but you totally can. I also like to add liquid smoke, it's optional, which really enhances the meaty flavor for those who like that. I cover the pot for about 5 minutes, then add a bit more water with the leftover tomato sauce and toss in the herbs. For herbs, I use basil leaves. I save some fresh ones to sprinkle on top after baking, plus chopped sage, thyme, and more basil. I also add dried oregano, a must in lasagna for me. For acidity and depth, I add red wine, or you can use a bit of balsamic vinegar instead. Then I cover it and let it simmer for about 10 more minutes. Also roughly chop the spinach leaves so they shrink down and be easier to eat. Then I moved on to blending the cashew bechamel. After soaking them a bit in their own water. You need a strong blender for this, otherwise it won't work. Blend until it's completely smooth. That's how you know the bechamel is ready. After about 10 minutes of simmering with the pot covered, I add the spinach, stir until it wilts, taste and adjust seasoning. Taste time. Sometimes I chop a little chives to mix it into the bechamel. Not essential, but it's a nice touch. For the lasagna sheets, I use the kind that doesn't need pre-cooking. You can also use gluten-free sheets or pre-boiled ones. Just know that baking time will probably change, but one of the best things is letting the sauce cook together in the oven, especially the cashew sauce, which thickens and becomes more bechamel-like, cheesy and stable. So the long cooking is very good here. Assembly, I like to start with a base layer under the sheets, half tomato sauce and half the filling red sauce. Then I layer in my preferred order. Everything is written out in detail with the full recipe on the website linked under the video. Personally, I love alternating between layers of just tomato sauce and layers of both tomato and bechamel. It's a bit of an obsession of mine, but do it however you like. In my 25 on 30 centimeters pan, it usually comes out to around 7 layers, which is nice. The most important thing, make sure every pasta sheet is fully covered with sauce. I even like to press them lightly into the sauce so they soak properly. That way they can cook through perfectly and the layers stay compact. For baking, I first bake the lasagna covered with aluminum foil so it cooks evenly inside. Stretch the foil tightly so it doesn't touch the sauce. If it does touch, it's not the end of the world. It just sticks a bit and pulls off some of the top sauce. I bake at 210 degrees Celsius with fan mode, 20 minutes covered, then remove the foil and bake another 15 minutes uncovered. At the end, when the lasagna is finished baking, I sprinkle chopped fresh basil on top, turn off the oven and leave it inside for 3 to 5 minutes. I let it cool down a bit, about halfway from the heat it was, so it can set, but not too much, so it's still warm when served. Then I cut it into portions. I storage it in the fridge, covered with the same foil I baked it with. It lasts about 5 to 7 days. It comes out beautifully from the pan, the layers hold, and the texture stays creamy and saucy. If I want to eat it cold from the fridge, I just heat a slice for about a minute in the microwave, and it's perfect. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you love this recipe and will give it a try. Please let me know if you do. Comment here, like this video. I really love to read your responses for things I make and do and how it makes you feel. and your conclusions and stuff. And I hope to see you soon in the next video.